Here, everyone. We'll go ahead and get started. We'll first be joined by Sean McNeil. Please use the raised hand feature to ask questions, and we'll start with Greg Hunter.
So, Sean, just give me your thoughts on I guess the Kansas game, and then before that the Oklahoma State win. I mean, where are you guys in terms of your overall play right now, do you think?
Sean, you're muted.
You hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think the Oklahoma State game, I think that was the closest full 40 minutes we probably played all year. There in the second half, we had a lull for, 5 or 6 minutes where we let them come back. I think we were up like 16, and then they cut it to 7 or 8 or something like that. But other than that, that was the closest to a 40-minute game, all throughout. And then the Kansas game, I thought we competed really well in the first half. We knew us, and the crowd that they have there is obviously special, and we knew that they were going to throw punches, but we just had to continue to respond. And I thought we did that well in the first half, but in the second half, we just came out extremely flat and just stopped playing. But we're back home now, and got yesterday and today to prepare for a really good Baylor team and a great opportunity ahead of us.
Quick follow-up then, Sean. Are teams defending you different this year than maybe they did last year, just you personally, without Taz and Derek around? Or are you getting more attention?
Yeah, I would say so. I think teams really try to focus in on me and Taz, but then that gives guys like JB and other guys. I mean, you could go completely down the roster. That gives other guys more opportunity. But yeah, I think teams are playing me a little different this year just because we don't have a guy like Deuce to create. Deuce was obviously a unique player, but yeah, I think they are playing me a little bit different.
Questions for Sean, please use the raised hand feature, and we'll go to.
Hey, Sean, can you make any sense of what's been going on in the Big 12? I mean, Baylor's lost 2 straight home games coming into this game, and probably not a lot of people thought that would happen. And there's been teams down at the bottom of the standings that have been jumping up and pulling off upsets, and it just seems like on any given night this league can take a turn for the better or the worse. What's it like playing in a league like that? And, how much have you guys paid attention to that so far?
Yeah, I think that just kind of goes to show you that, how talented this league is from top to bottom, but also at the same time that this league is completely up for grabs. There's, like I just said, you can go all throughout Baylor, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Kansas State's playing really well. They got everybody back. I mean, any team, you name it, they can win on any given night. So you got to come ready to play. You can't overlook any type of team. But as far as looking into it, we try to not really do that. Just trying to take it day by day, and worrying about us. Upsets are bound to happen, I'm sure. Just trying to avoid it, with us happening, and things like that. But no, we're just trying to focus on ourselves and let the outside noise happen. It's always going to be there, but we're just trying to remain focused on what we got to do.
And then what's your take on, Baylor's lost 2 straight, both at home. Now they're on the road coming into this one. What's your take on that?
Baylor's a really good team. They're really talented, extremely well coached. And it's surprising that they lost 2 at home. So we know that they're going to come in here really looking for a win, and we just got to be that more prepared. We got to be extremely focused, dial in today in practice, go over the game plan and figure out what we need to do to make it 3 straight losses for them.
Thank you, Sean.
Yeah.
We'll go back to Greg.
So, Sean, back to how teams are defending you a little bit. What's your counter to that? What have you tried to do to continue to get offense up?
Yeah, I think with Deuce being here before, I was more of a catch and shoot kind of guy. This year, I think I'm doing a little bit better job of being versatile when it comes to scoring a little bit more off the bounce, not being, as one-dimensional when it comes to just catch and shoot, but just figuring out ways to score, but not only score, but get my teammates involved, trying to, make the right play at the right time, pass the ball to people that are open, and just play basketball, trying to help us win.
So then a question about your defense. You're playing what, 35, 36 minutes a game, so you don't come off really any time. How have you sort of handled your defense in staying on the floor a ton and not getting a lot of rest?
Yeah, my defense hasn't been, and it's been it's very spotty. Some games I play well, some games I give up probably a little too much, but being on the floor that much, it obviously comes with, not taking plays off, but you just got to be smart. And I just try to remember that. But at the same time, I'm trying to do everything I can possible to help us win. And, Hugs always says you got to do what you do well. Don't try to do things out of your comfort zone. And I mean, shoot, everybody knows the defense isn't, what I'm known for. It's not taking plays off, but just being smart and just trying to give my body the best chance it is to help us win.
Ryan Pritt.
Hey, Sean, sorry, you're struggling with the unmute button there. You mentioned before that you guys were flat coming out of the halftime at Kansas. Is that something as a player you can feel before you even go out there, like in shoot arounds? And is there anything as a player you can do to try and prevent that?
I'm sure there's sometimes you could tell. I didn't feel it going into the Kansas game. In the first half, I mean, kind of speaks for itself. We were up 6 or 7 or whatever it was, and we were competing right there with them. In the second half, I kind of felt good about it. I mean, it was a 2-point ball game, and it was anybody's game. It was completely up for grabs. So I mean, I'm sure it's sometimes. I mean, probably more in the beginning of the game, you could be able to tell, but I had no sort of.
I know the adage is one game at a time, but you
got to lock in one at a time. I mean, like you said, this league is elite. It's the best in the country, especially this year. I mean, you go all the way top to bottom. I don't think there's a league or a team out of 75 in the net. Just goes to show you how talented this league is. So, I mean, you got to focus on one game at a time. And it's tough because, we're always scouting and we're always trying to prepare. I mean, playing the schedule like Wednesday, Saturday, you got to, I mean, not so much the players, but coaching staff, you got to kind of look ahead and start preparing for the next extremely talented team. But as a player, you definitely got to focus just one day at a time, one team at a time, one game at a time.
Sean, that's all the questions for today. Thank you for your time.
Yep. Thank you.
Okay, give us a second here and we'll get Coach Huggins lined up.
Can you hear us, Miss?
Yeah, I can hear you. Okay, we'll go ahead and take questions for Coach Huggins. I'll use the raised hand feature. The first is Greg Hunter.
So Bob, just start with Baylor. What do you see from them? How different are they from last year?
Oh, I don't think they're a whole lot different. I mean, their guards may not shoot it quite as consistent as they did a year ago, but they're good. I mean, they can create. They create really good shots for themselves. They create for others. Their two bigs, I think, have gotten much, much, much better. They brought in a freshman who plays on a wing at 6'6" and really, really athletic. And they're just, you combine that with Mayer, who is every bit of 6'10" and plays on the perimeter. I mean, they're hard to match up with.
Questions for Coach, please use the raised hand feature. And we'll go to Justin.
Hey, Coach, I was just wondering, obviously, Baylor, it's been kind of a, they start off the year 15-0, and now they've lost 2 in a row at home. Just by looking at it on paper, it looks like they just kind of failed to make shots. But did you see anything else in those 2 losses, as compared to what they were doing with the 15 wins?
Well, I think Sean said it best. They're playing in the hardest league in America. This league is hard, and the coaching in this league is fantastic. I think think I was told earlier today that all 10 teams are ranked in like the top 75 in the net.
Right.
I think Kansas State being the lowest. You just don't get a break in this league. You know, we were in the Big East when I got here, and there were teams that quite honestly were a break. There's no breaks in this league. And the travel in this league's hard. So I mean, I think there's a lot of things. There's a lot of variables, and sometimes you just miss shots. And I think they went through a little stretch there where they weren't making shots as consistently as what they were earlier in the year. We seem to do that by half instead of by game.
Let's go to Greg Carey.
Bob, they're still obviously a very strong defensive team. What kind of challenges did they present for you there? And I know after the Kansas game, you mentioned kind of needing to get some more in transition. How do you kind of get that working against Baylor?
Well, you got to rebound it, outlet, and run. We have had a hard time rebounding. It's hard to run when you don't rebound. And we just haven't rebounded it as consistently as what we need to. It's hard to work on outlet passes and those kind of things for a very long time because you got so many other things that you got to do. And you know, in our league, there's people play a lot of variety of things. Baylor's not just going to play us man to man. They're going to play zone. They're going to press a little bit, which I think everybody in our league does. They kind of throw something out there to see if it sticks. And if it sticks, they stay with it longer. And if it doesn't stick, they'll go to something else. And I think Scott's one of the guys that's really got that figured out.
Back to Greg Hunter.
So Bob, where is Taz? You talked about him after the loss to Kansas, that he wasn't 100%. He's still trying to recover from COVID and get his conditioning back. So where is he, and how do you do that when you want him to get conditioned, but you also don't want to push him too much to wear him down? So how does all that work?
He didn't look like he was 100% yesterday. You know, and obviously we didn't go full court yesterday. We didn't go up and down. We tried to get him out as much as we could, but still have him in enough that he knew what was going on. But he's not 100% yet. I'm not a doctor. I can't put a percentage on it, but I know he's not what he was.
So with that said, I mean, where are you guys if he's not 100%? I mean, he's obviously such a huge part of what you're doing.
Well, I think JB stepped up. I think JB stepped up to being a guy we can throw the ball to and can score. You know, he's showed that against, I think, the best teams in our league. I mean, obviously it's kind of out of need because of Taz's situation, but I think JD's been terrific. JB.
Bob Herschel.
Yeah, Coach, is it tougher to shake the metal scars after a game like that than to get the shooting back and that? I mean, you kind of indicated that the team stopped competing, and that's a mental thing.
No, I don't think so. I think you're more probably excited about playing, ready to play to get the bad taste out of your mouth. I mean, I think that's been my experience over the years. I mean, I've been blessed to have some great competitors, which certainly helps. But I think whenever you take a beating that we took in Lawrence, I think everybody's kind of foaming at the mouth to get out and play again.
Back to Justin.
Hey, Coach, just was kind of interested in some of the matchups here. I mean, you mentioned their bigs. Thomba's obviously a big guy, and then the other big, who I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, Jonathan, is another big guy. You mentioned Mayer, 6'10", kind of plays more like a guard. The size that they do have inside seems kind of versatile. They could do some different things with it. What kind of matchup problems are there for you guys?
Well, they start 6'10", 6'8", 6'9", 6'3", 6 foot. So it's a lot of matchup problems. It's particularly when the guy we've been playing on everybody else's bigs is, I think he lists himself at 6'6". I think that's just an out and out barefaced lie. He's more 6'4", 6'5", you know. So I mean, yeah, I mean that's why they've had the run that they've had. They've got really good players.
Greg Hunter.
Bob, where's the development of James Okonkwo? You haven't played him in recent games. Is he healthy? Do you think you play him much down the stretch, or where is he?
Well, in all honesty, I wanted to play him the last 2 games, and then then you start thinking, do I play him, where he's going to play maybe a game or 2, and because I don't know, obviously, what's going to happen down the road with playing in this league. And he really wasn't ready to play early on when we were playing teams that we could have got him in. Is it worth taking away a year away from him? Or do you redshirt him and he has 4 to go? And that's what we struggle with. He's getting better and better and better, and I think at some point in time, probably this year, he will be able to help us. But I don't know that you burn a year for that. That's what we go through as a staff is, and I know things are different now, with who knows, will the NCAA give everybody another COVID year? I mean, who knows what they're doing. So it just makes it, I mean, I looked at him the Kansas game, but I mean, he's not going to come in and win the game, that's for sure. So why burn it? But the way he's been playing in practice, he's starting to catch on. And now you're talking about a guy came over here from England and went to Beckley Prep, and Justin does a fantastic job down there with those guys. But I mean, they're playing some of the best prep schools in the country. But he hasn't, he just hasn't had. He didn't grow up here playing in the summer leagues, playing in AAU. He just didn't. He doesn't have all that background. So, but the way our bigs are, I mean, I played Senny in practice more yesterday than I've ever played Senny. I mean, we got to do something because obviously what we're doing isn't working.
Back to Hertz.
Yeah, Bob, what's it like going through this league when, I mean, Kansas and Oklahoma State and Baylor are like three different animals that you play in a week. Different approaches, different skills, different ways of playing the game. What does that do to a team that's trying to find itself?
Well, I think it's hard. Not just do they do different things, they do different things well. It's got to be the best coached league in America. And I've been in all kind of leagues. I mean, I was in leagues with MK Turk and Denny Crum and on and on and on. And I was in the Big East when the Big East was the Big East. And I don't think any of those leagues top to bottom were as good. Some of them were really terrific at the top, but the bottom was the bottom. you know, and I just I don't see that in this league. I don't see, you know, we sit there sometimes and we were playing a team that they had 4 first-round draft picks. And my assistant kept saying to me how nervous he was at the man, are they good? I mean, this is the best team that we've played. And I said, well, just look at the fat guy in the suit down there. You'll feel better. And it's this league is hard. I mean, this is, you know, that we get that it's supposedly a football league, but the basketball in this league and the coaching in this league is fantastic.
You mentioned foaming at the mouth after a game like the last one and being excited to get back out there and play. Is it easier to shake off a loss like that one where just everything went wrong and you just had one of those days, or a loss where you lose in the last second and could have won, should have won maybe?
I honestly, I don't know our personnel well enough because we haven't gone through that before. You know, some guys are foaming at the mouth and can't wait to get out there, where other guys are like, oh, here we go again. And I don't, you can't get that out of practice. And you know, we really, other than what UAB and maybe one other team, really weren't tested in the Connecticut, UAB, Connecticut. You know, we weren't as tested as what's maybe some years we are, or you have returning guys, or you have enough returning guys that kind of carry the load for you. We don't have a whole lot of returning guys. We don't have and we don't have a bunch of people who are familiar and understand our culture. So, I mean, I'd be lying if I told you I had it figured out. I don't.
Like Casazza.
Hey, Bob, how are you?
Good, Mike.
I have 2 for you. Oh, I guess 3. James can't redshirt, correct?
He could, yeah.
How would that work?
He would get another year.
Okay. I wasn't sure if he played more than he's allowed or anything like that.
He hasn't been in a game that I know of.
James?
No.
I think he has. I'll look. You caught my attention with changing what you do in the post, which may be changing who you play in the post, but based on the way you all want to rebound and play defense and even get easier shots on offense, that seems like a significant change with I don't know, just getting something different. How many options exist to do something different with your bigs, offensively, defensively, whatever?
Well, I mean, we're going to have to go to what our strength is, and our strength is on the perimeter. You know, with JB and Chaz and Sean, that's our strength. Excuse me. I wish we could score it close. You know, the best way to stop the bleeding is throw it close. I mean, when we didn't have a big guy the year we went to the Final Four, we had Deshaun, and so we could invert Day and throw it close and stop the bleeding, so to speak. We don't have anybody do that now. We tried to do that with Taz, and Taz is just too light in the loafers, you know. He just doesn't have enough girth to duck in down there and score it. He did it in junior college. I thought maybe he could do it there, but the people here are so much stronger and so much more athletic. So,
And then going to the number of teams that you play in the league now, I seem to remember you saying before that at some point you figure out how to guard a ball screen and do this and that, and there's not much of a difference, I guess. But do you see a lot of continuity from one opponent to the next, or do you have 9 opponents who are, I wouldn't say unique, but you really can't borrow from one game plan or one practice plan to get ready for the next one?
no, not at all. Not at all. That's what makes it, that's what makes the league so hard, and not just they don't do the same thing. What they do really well. So you don't see two teams in our league basically playing the same way. You don't see anybody else playing the way Baylor plays. And it's all personnel driven. It's all personnel driven. You try to do what you do to fit the people that you have to get the most out of them.
Coach, I think that's all the questions for today. Appreciate your time, and thanks to everyone calling in.
My pleasure. Have a great day, fellas. Don't fall in the snow. And by God, don't any of that yellow snow.
Thank you, Coach.